Our gospel text for today is taken from chapter 10 of the Gospel of Matthew. And Matthew chapter 10 is known as the Mission Discourse. In these 42 verses of chapter 10, Jesus chooses his disciples. We are given the names of these disciples, and he sends them out on mission. And even as he sends them out on mission, he gives them instructions for mission, and those instructions which he gives might be summarized in one word, and that word is detachment. The disciples are to be detached from material things, and that is why they must go, according to Jesus, without bag, bread, staff, or money. In other words, the disciples must realize that their dependence is only on God. It is true that the disciples will need to be fed. It is true that the disciples will need to be clothed. It is true that the disciples will need to rest. But it is also true that food and clothing and rest must not be primary. What must be primary is fidelity, is allegiance to the Lord. The second kind of strategy which the Lord provides is detachment from place. The disciples must not choose those places in which they will receive honor alone. It is very likely that when they go on mission, when they speak the words, when they act the actions, not everyone will be well disposed to them, and they must be prepared for those who are not well disposed, for those who do not want to listen to the instructions which they give. They must make every attempt on their part, and if after every attempt is made the people will still not listen, they must leave that place and go to another place where they will be welcome. And the third kind of strategy, which is our gospel text for today, is detachment from persons. When the Lord says in these verses that anyone who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, anyone who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, the Lord is not saying that we must not love our father and mother and our children and our parents and our spouse and our neighbors. No. What the Lord is in effect saying, that first and primarily we must love God. And if our love for God is genuine, only then can it show in our love for others. And the Lord is saying that it is likely that sometimes even a member of the family might come in the way of mission. Even a member of the family might be engaged in activities which do not fit in with the way of Jesus. If such is the case, then that member of the family has to be given up. So in other words, this three-pronged strategy of detachment which the Lord is proposing, detachment from things, detachment from place, and detachment from persons, is a very practical strategy. And the Lord, even as he proposes this strategy, is assuring the disciples of what is known in Hebrew as the Shaliach principle. And the Shaliach principle says that the authority of the one who is sent is the same as the authority of the sender. Right at the beginning of the mission discourse in chapter 10 verses 1 to 5, after giving us the names, Matthew tells us that the disciples were sent with the authority authority of Jesus. In these verses, he reminds us once again of that same authority in the words of Jesus when Jesus says that anyone who welcomes you welcomes me. And why do they welcome me? Because I am the one who sent you. In other words, we have a tremendous privilege. And along with this tremendous privilege and honor, we also have a tremendous responsibility. The privilege is that the Lord considers us as worthy to continue his mission. The honor is that the Lord has chosen us sinful, weak human beings to collaborate in his work of salvation. And the responsibility is that we must continue to be faithful to that mission, to the kind of persons that we are. Those who witness us must ask about us constantly, who are you that you speak such enhancing words, that you do such enhancing deeds, and that you speak them and that you do them in this way? In the first reading of today, Elisha the prophet pronounces a blessing on a woman who is hospitable to him. The woman expects nothing from him. She just reaches out in hospitality. She reaches out in magnanimity. She reaches out in generosity. She simply wants to reach out. She simply wants to be kind. The woman expects nothing in return. Elisha, however, is told that the woman and her husband do not have a son. And Elisha responds generously as well. Elisha is magnanimous as well, and Elisha promises that the woman will have a son in the coming year. And Elisha's prophecy is true. So when the Lord invites us to be generous, when the Lord invites us to be magnanimous, when the Lord invites us to be kind, we must keep in mind that like the woman, we will not expect anything in return. That our giving will be a detached giving. That our love will be an unconditional love. And that our selflessness is not because we expect from the Lord. If we do, then we are being faithful to mission. If we do, then we are being detached from persons, we are being detached from place, and we are being detached from things, and like Jesus, then we become missionaries after his own heart. Is there a thing? Is there a place? Is there a situation? Is there a person which is withholding you from engaging in mission? What will you do about it today?